The Imperium venerates its heroes, but what if one of its greatest champions is actually a self-proclaimed coward? Ciaphas Cain is not just any commissar. He's a living legend who has faced every enemy of mankind, from Tyranids to Chaos, and even the enigmatic Tau. During Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade, he was recalled from retirement to lead once again. He united fractured regiments and inspired soldiers with his unique brand of leadership. Yet listen closely to his own words during the second siege of Purlia, when he quipped, "I'm too old for this fragging nonsense." So I ask you, does true heroism lie in grand gestures, or in doing what's necessary despite your fears? As we peel back the layers of Cain's character, his triumphs and struggles, let's explore what it means to be a hero in such turbulent times.
Alright, so if he's such a reluctant hero, where did it all begin? What made him the kind of person who'd quip about being too old while saving the galaxy?
That's a great question. Let's rewind to Cain's beginnings. Born on a hive world sometime in late M40, his early life wasn't exactly glamorous. He was raised in a pretty tough environment, and his parents were reportedly Imperial guardsmen. They were killed in action against Kroot mercenaries, an event that led to his admission into the Schola Progenium.
The Schola Progenium? But those are for orphans of officers or high-ranking officials, right? How did he get in?
Exactly. It's a bit of a mystery, and Inquisitor Vale herself has noted the inconsistency in his records. It suggests that his parents might have been more than just average guardsmen. Maybe they were involved in some secret operation, or perhaps there's something more to his lineage that remains classified. What's certain is that his time at the Schola shaped him in profound ways.
In what ways did the Schola shape him?
Well, he wasn't a star pupil academically. He was described as competent but uninspired in most subjects. However, he excelled in areas that required practical skills like combat training and strategy. He had a particular talent for fencing, thanks to his instructor, a rather eccentric duelist named Miyamoto de Bergerac. This combination of book smarts and combat skills set him apart. It helped him survive, plain and simple.
So, how did this lead him to becoming a commissar?
Despite his lack of academic brilliance, his superiors saw potential in his leadership qualities and his ability to stay out of trouble. His blend of physical abilities, tactical thinking, and a natural knack for self-preservation caught the attention of the commissariat. In 919 M41, he was assigned to the Valhallan 12th Field Artillery, hoping for a nice, quiet posting far from any real action.
I'm guessing that didn't happen?
You're absolutely right. His hopes for a cushy assignment were quickly dashed when the Valhallan 12th was deployed to Desalotia IV to deal with both Orc and Tyranid incursions. But the real turning point, the event that truly set him on the path to reluctant heroism, was the first siege of Purlia.
That's the one where he was presumed dead, right?
Precisely. During the initial Orc assault, Cain's transport was shot down, and he and his aide, Jurgen, found themselves stranded behind enemy lines. Most would have considered it a death sentence, but not Cain. Instead of succumbing to despair, he gathered survivors, PDF soldiers, scattered guardsmen, even civilians, and began a desperate march toward the Imperial lines.
So he started building his legend out of pure survival instinct?
Exactly. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He was just trying to stay alive. But his actions had a ripple effect. His band of survivors harassed the Orc forces, disrupted their supply lines, and bought valuable time for the Imperial defenders. And then, of course, there's the matter of war boss Gargash Korbel.
Let me guess. Another accidental victory?
You know him too well. After weeks of evading orcs and leading his ragtag force across the desert, Cain's group stumbled upon Korbel's command post. In the ensuing chaos, Cain found himself face to face with the war boss himself. Outmatched in strength and size, Cain relied on his wit and a bit of luck. He managed to get close enough to shove his last pistol into the orc's eye and pull the trigger.
That's insane. So he took down the orc leader with a lucky shot?
It was more than just luck. It was a combination of quick thinking, courage, and a willingness to do whatever it takes to survive. With Korbel dead, the orc War fractured, and the Imperial forces were able to push back and eventually liberate Perlia. From that moment on, Cain was a hero, whether he liked it or not. After the first siege of Perlia, Cain's reputation began to grow, but he never let it go to his head. He still sought the easiest, safest path, but somehow that path always led him to more danger and glory.
Like what other adventures did he get into?
Oh, there were many. Take the Simia Orichalcae incident, for instance. Cain was sent to oversee the defense of a promethium refinery against orcs, but he soon discovered an even greater threat lurking beneath the ice, the awakening of a Necron tomb world.
Necrons? That's way above his pay grade.
Tell me about it. But Cain, ever resourceful, managed to delay the Necrons' advance by collapsing ice tunnels onto them, buying time for reinforcements to arrive. Again, he downplayed his role, claiming he was just trying to secure an escape route. But his actions saved the refinery and countless lives.
What about the time with the Gene Stealer cult?
The Gravelax incident. Now that was a delicate situation. Cain was dispatched to mediate a potential conflict between the Imperium and the Tau. Instead, he uncovered a Gene Stealer cult that was manipulating both sides, pushing them toward war.
So he had to play diplomat?
Exactly. But instead of launching a full-scale military operation, Cain used his cunning and knowledge of both cultures to sow discord within the cult. He subtly guided the Tau into attacking the cult's strongholds, weakening their influence, and ultimately averting a larger conflict. His actions prevented a sector-wide war.
It sounds like he became a master of deception and manipulation.
He used every tool at his disposal, but it's also worth noting that Cain showed empathy and compassion, something you don't often see in commissars. On Peri Ramunda, he diffused a mutiny not by executing the ringleaders, but by listening to the troops' grievances and addressing their concerns.
So despite his attempts to avoid responsibility, he was actually a good leader?
In his own unconventional way, yes. He understood that morale and loyalty were more valuable than fear and discipline. He always looked out for his men, especially his aide Jurgen, who was completely devoted to him despite his unique characteristics.
How did he peak then?
Cain's peak came during the lead-up to Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade. By then, he was a living legend, the hero of the Imperium. His reputation preceded him, inspiring hope in the hearts of Imperial citizens and fear in the minds of their enemies.
But he still didn't believe in his own hype, right?
Not for a second. He remained convinced that he was a fraud, a coward who had somehow blundered his way into greatness. He even began mentoring at the Schola Progenium on Perlia, far away from the front lines. However, that peace wouldn't last. Abaddon launched his massive assault, and Perlia found itself in the path of the storm.
So he had to come out of retirement?
Exactly. Despite his age and reluctance, Cain stepped up to defend the planet once again. He rallied his cadets, organized the defenses, and inspired the local forces to fight with unexpected ferocity.
Did he win?
He did. Against overwhelming odds, Cain and his forces held off the Chaos onslaught, buying time for Imperial reinforcements to arrive. It was a testament to his leadership, his tactical skills, and the sheer force of his reputation.
Wow, that's an incredible story. So what happened to him after the 13th Black Crusade?
After the 13th Black Crusade, Cain effectively disappeared from public view. Some say he returned to his quiet life as an instructor, while others claim he continued to serve the Imperium in a more covert capacity. The truth is, no one really knows for sure.
So he didn't have a big downfall or anything?
Not really. There were rumors, of course. Whispers of near-fatal encounters with Dark Eldar, supposed missions behind enemy lines, and even claims that he was secretly an inquisitor. But none of these stories have ever been confirmed. As for Jurgen, his loyal aide remained by Cain's side until the end. He was the only one who truly understood Cain's self-deprecating nature and unwavering commitment to duty. He was given posthumous commendations for his service, but they would likely have mattered little to him. Ultimately, Ciaphas Cain's legacy is complex. He's remembered as a hero, a savior, and a legend. But he was also a flawed man, driven by fear and self-preservation. Yet, it was those very flaws that made him so effective. His unlikely journey shows how true courage can come from unexpected places. A hero because of his actions, or in spite of his motivations. You decide.